And once again, I want to say greetings to each and every one of you, Aquaba, and welcome. Welcome to another round of the Conscious Roster Report here on LIV Radio, LIV TV, and livinginblack.com. My name is Kedio Whiteau, aka the Conscious Roster. Weekday mornings, you and I get together live. We come at you from 9 a.m. Pacific time. That's 12 noon Eastern Time, 5 p.m. GMT, and 8 p.m. East Africa Time. We get together with you and we deal with culture, consciousness, historical perspectives, entertainment, economics, education, health, labor, law, politics, religion, family, conflict, future studies, all areas of human interactivity and development. Today's date is Thursday. It is the 12th, not the 12th, it is the first day of May. Year 2025 in the Western calendar. This corresponds to the year 6265 in the Kemetic calendar, to which we've realigned our cultural clock. Welcome to the seventh millennium. You have found your family in a peaceful place here on LIV Radio, LIV TV, and on livinginblack.com. It's worse than we can even imagine. It's worse than we can even imagine. It is. I'm going to tell you what is worse than what we could not have imagined. But first, I need for some of us, any of us, all of us, obviously, what we have to do for this planet. We've got to do something serious for Mother Earth. Let me do the headline for today. Today's conversation is proposing sulfur dioxide to block greenhouse gases. Today on LIVradio.com, Tech and Future Talk discusses how the latest scheme to cool down the Earth is planning to modify Boeing 777 airplanes to spray sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere. They are willing to trade chemtrails, trade climate warming for acid rain. This is absolute madness. Sulfur dioxide. I said sulfur dioxide. They want to change it, exchange it for acid rain. Yeah, it's unbelievable, isn't it? But it's true. Consider how to deal with these people, with these lizard people. It's going to get serious around here. It's got to get serious. So what we're going to do is we're going to look into this evidence. And we're going to consider there's something going on. There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with his gun in his hand telling you and where we better stop, children. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Those were the lyrics to a song that just popped into my mind. It's crazy. This is sheer madness. Let's take this story apart. I've got this story up on my desktop. I'm going to first go to zerohedge.com and I'm going to put up this link. 1 second here. I'm going to put up this link on various pages. I'm going to put it up on my Facebook page. And we're going to look at what this story is saying. And I'm going to put it up on my Rumble page. Let's look at this article. Geoengineers want Boeing 777s to dump sulfur into the sky, raising acid rain catastrophe study by Tyler Durden. Zero Hedge, April 30th, 2025. This story is dated yesterday. And again, I'm going to put it up on the Facebook page, not my Facebook page. I put it up on my Facebook page. I'm having computer issues over here, and I'm really quite fed up. I know where it's coming from. Yeah, it's somebody's messing with me. It is what it is. So let's go into the story from zerohedge.com. Scientists are proposing to modify Boeing 777 aircraft to spray sulfur dioxide into the stratosphere in an attempt to cool the Earth in the name of debunked so-called climate change. Fully acknowledging the serious risk of acid rain and other. A new study published yesterday, April 30th, in Earth's Future, openly admits that this method, called stratospheric aerosol injection, SAI, would sharply increase dangerous side effects like acid rain because it requires, quote, 3 times more, unquote, aerosol to achieve the same cooling effect compared to previous high altitude schemes, 3 times more aerosol. However, the original story goes on, this low altitude strategy requires 3 times more injection than high altitude SAI, and so would strongly increase the side effects such as acid rain, the study's authors warn. Rather than developing new, specifically designed aircraft to reach the 65,000 feet altitude, researchers from University College London and Yale now propose dumping sulfur at least at just 42,000 feet within the existing capabilities of modified S777s. The ironic catch: at lower altitudes, sulfur dioxide or sulfur particles would rain out of the sky much faster, meaning a massive increase in the amount of pollutant dumped into the atmosphere. Instead of solving anything, their plan could flood the atmosphere with even more toxic material, accelerating the very environmental destruction they claim to be fighting. The study projects injecting 12 million tons. Bear with me, where were we at? The study projects injecting 12 million metric tons of sulfur dioxide per year, comparable to the volume released by the Mount Pinatubo eruption in 1991, which famously cooled the planet temporarily, but also triggered severe acid rain. In fact, the researchers admit outright that this new strategy could mean a proportionate increase in the side effects of a strategic aerosol intervention, and that is strategic aerosol stratospheric, that was it, stratospheric aerosol injection, SAI. Again, let me go where I was. Increasing the SAI per unit cooling, such as human exposure to descending particulate matter. The new proposal to retrofit Boeing 777s to spray sulfur mirrors the larger scale atmosphere modification that anti-geoengineering expert Jim Lee shows is already being carried out daily through commercial aviation's sulfur-doped emissions. A blueprint for accelerated environmental collapse? Build as a shortcut because it could use existing jets instead of waiting a decade for new aircraft. The UCL Yale plan effectively opens the floodgates for rapid, poorly regulated deployment. The study concedes this alarming possibility, saying, quote, this could imply an increase in the number of actors available to deploy SAI, a earlier and earlier potential start date, and perhaps a greater risk of unilateral deployment, unquote. Translation, anybody with a modified fleet of cargo planes could start spraying the skies without global oversight. This echoes warnings about our past reporting. Geoengineering is being normalized as an emergency solution, quote unquote, without serious consideration of the unintended, irreversible damage it could unleash on ecosystems, agriculture, and human health. Acid rain, after all, devastates forests, poisons waterways, and corrodes infrastructure. Even the authors admit that injected sulfur at lower altitudes would be, quote, a suboptimal stratospheric atmosphere injection, aerosol injection deployment, with strongly increased side effects, reduced cooling efficiency, and a more polar cooling profile. Yet, despite these known dangers, the plan is moving forward, with government agencies like Britain's AREA already preparing field experiments. Global weather control by cargo plane. This is the continuation of a pattern we've exposed before. Global elites quietly planning militarized weather control schemes under the cover of climate crisis narratives. First, it was experiments on cloud seeding. Now, it's mass-scale sulfur dumping using commercial airliners. Let me repeat that. First, it was experiments with cloud seeding, and now it's mass-scale sulfur dumping using commercial airliners. Our results, quote, our results suffer suggest that a deployment of low altitude, high latitude strategic stratospheric aerosol injection could halt the increase in global mean temperature under current warming rates by redirecting a small fraction of the production of existing large jets, less than 2 new jets per year, the researchers wrote. In other words, they are planning for a future where the skies are permanently hazed with chemical aerosols maintained by a growing fleet of retrofitted jets. Once this kind of geoengineering begins, it can't be easily stopped. The sudden cessation of sulfur injection could trigger abrupt catastrophic warming, known in scientific literature as the, quote, termination shock. This isn't a solution. Its engineering depends on a dangerous, destructive atmospheric intervention. The bottom line, geoengineers are openly admitting that they want to retrofit Boeing 777s to spew toxic sulfur dioxide into the sky, risk widespread acid rain, and destabilize the global climate, all to patch over the failures of industrial policy. If the public doesn't push back, the same establishment that wrecked the environment with reckless industrialization will now finish the job under the globe under the guise of saving it. If the public doesn't push back, the same establishment that wrecked the environment with reckless industrialization will now finish the job under the guise of saving it. That was two different stories, one of which was from zerohedge.com. And the other was from, I can't find the source of this. The other was from Chemtrails in discussion Boeing 777s to spray sulfur dioxide into the air. Geoengineers want Boeing 777s to dump sulfur into the sky, risking acid rain catastrophe. Study by Planet Today. That was dated 4/30/2025. And here is a link to that story as well. 1 second here. And I'm not seeing anybody in the house today. I do hope and anticipate that this will be a lively discussion, a very lively discussion. Let's double check, make sure that nobody is discussing this. Let me post this up on YouTube. And the reference I'm using, I'm going to post that up too. And let's see if I fear that literally no one is interested. To me, I am outraged. I'm outraged. I am outraged. But we're going to see if anybody else is outraged as well. I'm reminded of a crazy conspiracy scheme that I have heard of that are aliens. That's what I've heard. That are plotting on the planet. Now, I'm having a little bit of a problem with my computer today. The stream is all choppy, 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 and I'm about to cut off one of the websites. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to just turn off this Rumble now, so I'm not monitoring that. But what I can do, yeah, I'll just turn on this monitor over here, and I'll just watch this one to see if any of your comments come in. But I'm not seeing many people interested in what's appearing on your screen. I can say, amidst all of this bad news, I did receive some good news today. I received my new book coming in, Suicide, the movie. This book invites readers to confront a silent epidemic plaguing our nation, the devastating consequences of poor nutrition, conscious. Our daily food choices have spiraled into a collective health crisis. One bite at a time. This book sheds light on the dark side of the modern diet, exposing how processed foods, sugary snacks, and fast food indulgences are not just satisfying our cravings, but slowly undermining our well being. And you just think of it, after having done all of this work to refine my diet and helping teaching others to refine their diet to live longer and healthier, that now we have to deal with sulfur dioxide being sprayed into the atmosphere in massive quantities. By these crazy geoengineers. It's crazy. This is absolutely insanity. I've got a few more stories of this up on my desktop. Let me go to, I did store it at Zero Hedge with their story. Geoengineers want Boeing 777s to dump sulfur into the sky, risking acid rain catastrophe. Study. This written by Tyler Durden. At lower altitudes, sulfur particles would rain out of the sky much faster, meaning a massive, more toxic material, accelerating the very environmental destruction they claim to be fighting. The study projects injecting 12 million metric tons of sulfur dioxide per year. 12 million metric tons of sulfur dioxide. 1991 was famously temporarily, but also triggered severe acid rain. A blueprint for accelerated environmental collapse. Build as a shortcut because it could use existing jets instead of waiting a decade of actors available to deploy SAI, an earlier potential start date. And translation, anyone with a modified oversight. This echoes warnings from our past reporting. Geoengineering is being normalized as an emergency solution. Don't we remember emergency solutions? Just a few years ago, we had an emergency solution. And how did that turn out? Acid rain, after all, devastates forests, poisons waterways, and corrodes infrastructure. Even the authors admit that injecting sulfur at lower altitudes would be a suboptimal SAI deployment with strongly increased side effects, reducing cooling efficiency, and a more polar by cargo plane. Weather control by cargo plane. Now, if you think that this is just an illusion, I put forward the following article as evidence to be considered. This article is entitled, "A Recommended National Program in Weather Modification." Here, bear with me, it's reloading. And my computer is very, very slow today. It is coming up. And bear with me. Be patient. A weather modification, a report to the Interdepartmental Committee for Atmospheric Sciences by Homer E. Newell, Associate Administrator for Space Science and Application, National Aeronautics and Space Administration, Washington, D.C., Interdepartment Committee for Atmospheric Sciences. And there's some other information on here. It's irrelevant. Federal Council for Science and Technology, Executive Office of the President. And it has a number of different people that this document went to. It went to the Department of Defense, Department of Commerce, Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, Department of the Interior, Department of the State, Federal Aviation Agency, Jack Carlson, Council on Economic Advisors, Atomic Energy Commission, National Science Foundation, National Aeronautics and Space Administration, Department of Agriculture, Department of the Budget, Arms Control and Disarmament Agency, and it went to the Smithsonian Institution and a number of other people. I just looked at the second page of number of destinations. Here's what it has to say. Introducing the memorandum for Dr. Donald F. Hornig, subject Weather Modification Program. At its meeting of March 29, 1966, the Federal Council asked ICAS to prepare a report outlining who is doing what in weather modification, the future plans of the agencies, particularly Commerce and Interior, and their interrelationships, and the considerations that should affect decisions on the division of responsibilities for research in weather modification. Forwarded herewith is a report prepared for ICAS by Dr. Homer E. Newell, the NASA member of ICAS. It has been thoroughly considered by our committee and is endorsed as the ICAS response to the Council's request above. That from J. Herbert Holliman, Chairman. And here's what the report said. Here is again a title page. A recommended national program in weather modification. A report to the Interdepartmental Committee for Atmospheric Sciences. That's ICAS, Interdepartmental Committee for Atmospheric Sciences by Homer E. Newell, Associate Administrator for Space Sciences and Applications, National Aeronautics and Space Administration, Washington. This dated October 1st, 1966. Here's what they had to say. A recommended national program in weather modification. Introduction. The planet's weather has a profound influence on agriculture, forestry, water resources, industry, commerce, transportation, construction, field operations, commercial fishing, and many other human activities. Adverse effects of weather on man's activities and the Earth's resources are extremely costly, amounting to billions of dollars per year, sometimes causing irreparable damage, as when human lives are lost in severe storms. Let me move this over here to this other computer, if you don't mind. There is, therefore, great motivation to develop effective countermeasures against the destructive effects of weather, and conversely, to enhance the beneficial aspects. The financial and other benefits to human welfare of being able to modify weather to augment water supplies, reduce lightning, suppress hail, mitigate tornadoes, and inhibit the full development of hurricanes would be very great. Over the past 20 years, experiments have been conducted on weather modification, particularly on the effects of seeding clouds with such materials as silver iodide crystals. The results are limited. Under suitable circumstances, it has been possible to augment precipitation by 10 to 20% and to reduce the frequency of fire-producing lightning strikes. Effects on hail production have been noted, sometimes suppression and sometimes augmentation. These results probably would be of only passing interest were it not for the potential importance to mankind of further progress in this field. Perhaps the most significant result of the experiments to date has been to bring about a change in attitude from one of skepticism to one of cautious optimism. The limited success to date is encouraging and underscores the importance of pressing forward with the necessary research to understand the dynamics of weather systems that will have to be dealt with in any efforts at weather modification. Now, I still contend, and this is only half joking, I still contend that these entities, I will call them, are intending to change the climate all over the planet to eliminate a large number of human beings and to geopopulate themselves. And I will further propose the radical idea that these are not humans, that these are aliens. I'm doing that partially to insult them, but I'm doing it also to acknowledge that others have said, no, they are actually aliens, the lizards. Now, I'm not going off in that direction today. That's not my forte. But I do know one thing. Spraying sulfur dioxide in the atmosphere in massive quantities would be something that a lizard would want because they have tough skin. And can tolerate acid coming out of the sky. Going forward, reading from the 1966 document, the gradually accumulating evidence of positive results from efforts at weather modification led the Committee on Atmospheric Sciences of the National Academy of Sciences in November 1963 to appoint a panel on weather and climate modification to, quote, undertake a deliberate and thoughtful review of the present status and activities in this field and of its potential and limitations for the future, close quote. The panel made its report at the beginning of this calendar year. The composition of the NAS panel is given in application 1, together with a list of the panel's recommendations. Elaboration and discussion of these recommendations may be found in reference 1. This document I am reading from is 97 pages long. We're only on page 6. On June 16, 1964, the director of the National Science Foundation announced the appointment of a special commission on weather modification. To assist in its review of the field, the commission activated 7 subgroups to study the physical, biological, statistical, social, international, legal, and legislative, and administration and funding aspects of weather and climate modification. The membership of the commission and a list of the principal recommendations of the commission are attached, Appendix 2. Further elaboration and discussions of those recommendations may be found in the commission's report and the report of the subgroups. With the growing conviction of positive and potential results, a number of government agencies have been developing plans for research and ultimately operational programs in weather and climate modification. Some of these plans stem from the desire to use weather modification to meet specific mission responsibilities, such as the development of water resources, protection of crops, protection against forest fires, etc. Other plans stem from direct responsibility for furthering our understanding of weather and its uses. A summary report, present and future plans of federal agencies in weather climate modification, dated June 20, 1966, was prepared for the Interdepartmental Committee for Atmospheric Sciences by a select panel on weather modification, whereas the ICAS select panel reported reflected reflected a desirable vigor in pressing forward in this important field. Nevertheless, it raised a number of questions as to the soundness and adequacy of proposed plans, the validity of cost estimates, the availability of trained people to meet the schedules proposed, overlapping of research activities, duplication of proposed facilities, responsibility for coordination and reporting, and responsibility for regulation. I'm going to read one more paragraph and then finish this. To discharge its responsibilities, ICAS must provide answers to these questions and make appropriate recommendations. To this end, the chairman of ICAS, Dr. Herbert Holloman, asked me to review the proposed plans and to submit recommendations that might be adopted by ICAS for a report to Dr. Donald F. Hornig, Director of the Office of Science and Technology, Executive Office of the President. And what I am going to do is share this. Ooh, do I have it available? I wanted to share the original. Let me see if I can find it. Browsing data. I'm looking for browsing data history. That's what I'm looking for. I'm sharing this and it's just not coming up. So what I'm going to do is just give you the title of it. That's the best I'll be able to do. Here, one more try. History, no, it doesn't do that. So I'm just going to give you the title of this document. And if you're curious, you will be able to look it up. So I'm copying. This is entitled A Recommended National Program for Weather Modification, a report to the Interdepartmental Committee by Homer Sciences. Homer, not Sciences, Homer Newell. And what I'm trying to do is copy it all in one group. There we go. And on that note, let me see if I have anybody interested in this document. And if not, we're going to wrap it up for today because I have a meeting here tomorrow. There's going to be a large group of people joining us, and we are going to have a feast. Oh, yes, we are. We're going to throw down. And I encourage you, if you are in Las Vegas, this is where you want to be tomorrow. This is the place to be. Now, I am going to wrap it up for today. I thought this program would get a big interest, but I was wrong. I was hoping my book would get a big interest. The new book out is now out. Suicide, the book. Food so tasty, it's to die for. From skyrocketing obesity rates to the alarming rise of diet-related diseases such as diabetes, heart disease, and even cancer, Suicide unveils how our relationship with food has veered dangerously off course. Through vivid storytelling, eye-opening research, and practical advice, this book not only explains how we got here, but also empowers readers to take back control of their plates and their lives. This is more than just a book. It is a wake-up call. Suicide challenges readers to rethink their diets and reconnect with the nourishing power of wholesome, real foods. By raising awareness and fostering changes, this book aims to inspire a healthier, more conscious approach to eating because the stakes have never been higher. Your life could very well depend on it. Your life could depend on it. That is the 8th book I put out, and other books in the series. The first of them, Living Superfood Solutions, Dietary Strategies that Prevent and Reverse Common Chronic Diseases. Next came Disaster Preparedness for World Wars 5 and 6. Disaster Preparedness for World Wars 5 and 6. How is the global economic and security order shaping up for the 21st century? It's scary. Then came the stem cell revolution. I'm excited about this book. You can tell. This is a holistic approach to stem cell activation and regenerative medicine. The stem cell revolution. It's awesome, awesome, awesome. Next came the African future, empowering a united and prosperous Africa for future generations. We have a lot of work to do. Next came quantum advancement. Spectacular discoveries along the magnificent journey, quantum advancement. And this one goes into some deep, deep stuff. It's written by the brother from the future. I am Ka. Next came the book, Standard Omission, The African Scientific Roots of Greco-Roman Medicine. This is serious research, and I'm very, very proud of it. And then we came out with A Year Against Cancer with Living with Superfood Solutions. And it is all about prevention of cancer. It's all about prevention of cancer. And now I am taking a pause from writing. But I almost don't want to, because I do have 3 more books that have already much been researched, 2 of which have been extensively researched and just need to be written. But I'm tired. I'm tired of looking into this computer every day, all day long. My eyes are exhausted, not exhausted, but my eyes are tired. And need to get away from these computer screens for a couple of months. 8 new books. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. 8 new books. 8. Count them. In December, January, February, March, April, 5 months. 8 new books in 5 months. Yeah, I'm proud of me. And I know you are too. I'm looking to coming back to the UK in the next few months. And we're trying to put together a plan for that right now. I do need to start traveling again. I have not, wait a minute, I haven't hardly been anywhere since the pandemic. I did go to Africa twice, and I do need to go back to UK. So in case you want to host your brother, let's get in contact. Let's communicate. If you want to text me, you can text me. Don't call. Text me. Text me. Text me. Call, I said. Text me. I won't answer it. But if you text me, I will get right back to you with an appropriate time to talk. Text me at 702-580-0662. If you want to be a supporter of LIB Radio, I encourage such activity. Do type or go to libradio.com. That's www.libradio.com. Scroll down to the bottom of the front page, and you will see a couple of links there to be able to be a subscriber, where you could contribute a regular amount to us, however much you choose. Some people do $10, some people do less than that, some people do $20. You can be a subscriber, or you can make a one-time donation. That is no problem. Anything and everything you contribute helps us on this mission to create a well-informed audience able to resist the corruption that's taking place all around us. The corruption of spraying chemtrails into the atmosphere. We'll have to come up with a solution for that, obviously. The acid rain that will follow, spraying sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere, is going to be a serious problem for the world to deal with. Those of us who are gardening, or I do have my own gardening, will now have to deal with the rains that destroy the plants. It doesn't rain very often in Southern California and Nevada, but it does affect the nation that I am in. You've been tuned into your favorite. I hope we are your favorite. We are LIB Radio. We are LIB TV. We are livinginblack.com. Tell your friends to tell their friends that we have our own. And you know something? We're quite proud of who we are and what we have. I want to thank you all for tuning in to LIB Radio, LIB TV, and livinginblack.com. And I am going to, right now, get out of here. I'm going to go out, and I got some dish preparation to do. It is going to be awesome around here tomorrow on LIB Radio, LIB TV, on livinginblack.com. We are here. We're here to change the world. We want to change it for the better. We don't aim to corrupt the society by spraying toxic chemicals on our babies. No, 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 no. Peace and prosperity to each and every one of you on your favorite LIB Radio, LIB TV, livinginblack.com.